Welcome to the Consulting Leaders Podcast, where we talk about the business of consulting. Whether you're looking to grow your practice or learn from the stories of leaders in consulting, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Guillaume Jouvencel, ex-PwC and co-founder of GHA Marketing. Join me as I interview the best consultants in their niche. Let's get on with the show. Mark, welcome to Consulting Leaders. Happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Let's jump straight into it. Mark, what got you into consulting, and how did this early experience shape the way you work with leaders today? Tell us the story.
Yeah, man. Oh, I guess without being too long-winded, I was pretty much groomed into this. I'm the oldest out of 5 children, and I come from a sports background. So I played, 5 children, single parent household. And so I had to grow up pretty quickly and had to obviously understand how to manage a home and how to help lead the home. So there you have the early signs of something we're going to talk about today, which is high performance leadership. And then I played quarterback, ended up getting a full ride. I was pretty good, and went Division 1 out of high school. I was an all-state athlete, did well, had a little bit of pro experience. And so yet again, serving as a high performance leader and leading other high performers at, say, the highest level that there is to do it. And so yes, there again, I learned how to lead people. And at this level, though, you're leading hundreds now, if not an entire school or a city. And so, needless to say, when we talk about high performance, you need a skill set that you do really well, and then leadership is essentially character, and neither one without the other will get the job done. So you need both, and so this was the onset for sure of me growing, and I didn't understand at the time what I was building or how it would serve me later on in my career. But it's absolutely one of the cornerstones of what we use in consulting today. Because if you think about a business, yeah, it's all people, and there has to be high performance, and ultimately it needs to be a leader. And so I say that's definitely how we got started here.
What's the problem that you help people solve now? Like what's the outcome that you help people achieve?
Yeah, if there was if I had to narrow it down to a simple sentence, I'd say optimizing people, processes, products, and profitability. We call them the big four. Ultimately, it's what every executive wakes up and goes to sleep thinking about, right? And our job is to come alongside those individuals, those leaders, and one, groom them as high performance leaders, but then two, develop high performance organizations. And those 4 P's are essentially how we go about doing it.
Um, I like the analogy of the big four. Um, who is it that you work with? So leaders, obviously, but do you have a specific niche, industry, company size, title? Like who do you work with typically?
Yeah, we're pretty comprehensive. So I have a team, a staff of other consultants that work alongside me. I'm a principal, obviously. And so we're across 8 sectors right now. And that looks like small business, mid-size, large, um, public, private, nonprofit. We work with government. It's about a 60-40 split, government to private. And and yeah, so each one of those sectors needs different things. Small businesses don't need process improvement. They need sales and marketing. And mid-sized companies probably aren't pressed for sales and marketing as much as they are pressed for making sure that they can retain their talent and continue to move them forward and create successions, right? And be able to, or maybe even prepare for an exit, a sale. And those large companies are looking more, yeah, they want to understand more about how to improve as leaders. It might be a bit more emotional intelligence there, or it might be PR, right? So it just depends on what might be taxes and audits, and that's really what it looks like for them in most cases. It's in the profitability sector where we lean into compliance and FP&A, and so Yeah, each one needs something different in most cases. It's not one set thing for anyone, but yeah, that's how we approach it.
No, I like it. And what I appreciate in good positioning is that when you focus on the person and their specific set of problems rather than a specific solution, when you, I mean, it's the famous, when you have a hammer, you tend to see every problem as a nail, right? And I'm just out of a conversation with someone we might work with, and we were discussing this. It's like whatever the problem we help them solve, if we know a specific type of people better than they know themselves, or we know their problems linked to their function better than they do, like this becomes a no-brainer. Like, oh yeah, cool. I see
Yeah,
how you work with only people like me, helping solve those specific problems that I might have not been able to see in the first place without you. This is where the real magic happens. So yeah, no, that 100% makes sense. What has worked for you, Mark, to attract those potential people that you can work with, like marketing wise? How do you brand? How do you market? How do you get leads to knock on the door?
yeah, absolutely right. The goal is to be a magnet, right, or to be a farmer, if you would, not to necessarily have to be a hunter. And we use thought leadership at the cornerstone of that. Is adding value to the marketplace in every possible way. Is jumping on podcasts like this, and I really love podcasts. Probably one of my favorites because if you can imagine it, before your grandparents would sit down at at night and in the morning beside the radio to listen to the closing of the day where they would talk about culture and they would talk about what was going on locally, and there would be this voice, this anchor man that would come in and give the voice of truth or the voice of reason. And then that shifted to your parents and my parents, and they would they would listen to this voice of reason on the way to work, right, in the car. The radio became a part of the car, and now today the radio is a part of the phone. It's a part of social media, and you're the voice of reason. I'm the voice of reason. We have an opportunity to play part in this, and so we can impact the culture in a real way by sharing advice and wisdom that's not mainstream. And that's what I think I like most about the thought leadership component. But it's blogs, it's Google ads, it's SEO, it's account based marketing. Very little outbound, very little cold emails or anything cold like that. We don't send out postcards or anything, so it's pretty much all attracting or farming, if you would. I'm a gardener.
Huh. It's funny because this is the very analogy that the partner who kind of taught me everything. I mean, described when he explained me like the fact that there were two type of consultants. There were the hunters and there were the farmers. And he was like, not talking about me here, but talking about himself. He was like, I'm a hunter. I love the smell of fresh blood in the morning. I love to go after new business. That's my jam. But he was like, the partners making the most money, the ones bringing in the most business, are actually the farmers, the ones who are able to take that initial engagement. And I know we're talking about marketing, but here it's more like retention, but that's kind of linked
Hmm.
because it's consultative sales in a consulting practice,
Yep.
anyways. Like the ones able to take that initial engagement and transform it into a multi-layered, multi-year project involving all the teams from the firm. Those are the ones who grow the fastest and make the most money. Um, so I mean, I like the approach, obviously, Mark. Tell me how you move from that, from this farming, from this authority, from this thought leadership, from the podcast to a conversation, a sales
Yep.
conversation, an SOW, racy, letter of engagement, we rock and roll. What does sales motion look like for you guys?
Yeah, it's methodical for sure. And if I had to point it to a single anchor, I'd say it's absolutely the proposal that goes about getting that done. What I think I've seen most frequently when it comes to speaking to our audience or our particular clientele, um, they want it in writing, and I'm the same way. I prefer things in writing because you can't go back on it. It's a high trust industry, and so if you put it on paper, pretty much, I can hold you to it. and can you still default on it? Of course, but I can hold you to it. And so with that said, the proposal does a lot of the heavy lifting for us, because there we get to tell them what we're doing, who's doing the work, how we're going to go about getting it done, what the parameters are, what the time frame is associated with it. We can literally walk all the way down to point Z, and they are able to then take that document and pass it around to whatever other decision makers they need before they have to come back to us. And so from there, it's just a matter of, do we suit your style, or our payment methodologies, or whatever, however it is we choose to price things. From there, does that suit what this individual wants to get done? But so that is what does most of the heavy lifting when you talk about introducing a conversation that then leads to a deal. That's definitely where it's done. Outside of that, the next thing is, what where are the questions being asked, and who's prepared, who's positioning the platform for those questions to get asked. And that might look like a call to action off of social media. It might look like a link that a person gets to click off of this video. It might look like, yeah, we've seen them all from there, but some form of a call to action. Typically we have an event, right? It might be showing up at the event. It's a bunch of different ways. It might be our newsletter, but it's usually a call to action that leads to a book consultation. And then from that consultation, again, it's going to be culminated around this proposal where we pretty much share the full plan.
Amen to that.
Okay.
Talk to me about retention. So obviously consulting firms grow when they are able to attract new business consistently, right? And I think you have that pretty well nailed down. Actually, one thing I'm going to double down, call to action. I love this. The problem with a lot of consulting firm owners who get into the content game or who get into the marketing game is that they just thought it's about thought leadership. It's just about publishing that book. It's just about whatever they do. But you also want to have a soft call to action towards the next step and the next step and the next step. And this can be anything. It's like, hey, you've watched this podcast episode, you've read this article, you will love XYZ ebook that covers specifically things that you care about. Just give me your email address so I can send it to you. And now you have a lead. But that's not all. Then you want to nurture those via email and send industry insights, things relevant to them specifically, case studies, and have every now and then a call to action towards booking call. Hey, if this has been helpful, I'd love to see how we can help. At least give you a free consultation, free strategy call, whatever it is. That call to action piece is unfortunately something that I know many people listening to us right now are not taking seriously enough, but that's where the conversion happens. There is attraction, there is conversion, and there is delivery. Talk to me about that delivery piece. So you start working with a client, you help them, and then what? How do you not make the most out of a client, but more like, how do you keep on helping? How do you solve the next problem and the next? How do you optimize farming for the clients who are in?
Yeah, staying right there with the farming analogy, right? I think that we underestimate the problems that success produces. I think we underestimate that, right? And what I'm saying is, the typical consultant is someone who says, all right, I'll come in and serve this business from say 3 to 6 months or 3 to 12 months, do my job, wipe off my hands, and then move on to the next client. That's the typical operation flow. But something that I love about our approach behind these 4 Ps, one connects to another. And depending on the capabilities therein, or the capacities that you are serving a client, ideally you're not just in one lane. Ideally it's not just advisory. It's advisory, maybe strategy, maybe management, maybe training. You have some other plays there at hand. And if so, great. What happens when you help me make money? Well, when I help you make money, you're introduced to another problem. That problem is going to be a high demand that you're going to need to fulfill, which means you're going to need to go back to recruiting. And you need to bring in more quality individuals that you're going to have to train then as high performers. And then you're going to have to develop them into leaders. And or you're going to have a compliance issue, and you're going to need to pay more in taxes. You're going to try to figure out how to avoid paying more in taxes. So regardless, this success leads to more problems. If you were to picture it as an upside down triangle, And there are these filters that you break through. And every time you break through a filter of success, you say, wow, yay, great, I did it. Only to enter into a larger environment with more accessibility, more availability, but more danger, more risk associated with it as well. And now knowing how to manage that becomes a whole nother task all by itself. We say new levels, new devils, right? They have all types of sayings behind it, but ultimately success just opens the door to bigger problems. And if you can be at the head of that, then that is how you create an upsell or how you go deeper into that organization to help solve that problem. You've already built the trust already because you solved the problem. So the short answer is solve the problem. And once you do that, then now you can make room for the opportunity to get more business from that individual.
I like the way you roll, obviously, Mark. I'm sorry if I've used too much the farm analogy. I didn't mean to, but you
I
just got
love
me
it.
started, Mark. So I had to develop. I like the way you roll. So I'm gonna throw a little bit of a curveball question at you now.
Let's do it.
What's your number one challenge right now? What's the one that you're trying to crack that once you crack, you're gonna take the whole thing to the next level?
Yeah,
What would
man.
that be for you?
Absolutely. It goes right back. Funny story on that. I want to take you to the end and then I'll come back around. But
By all
um,
means.
okay, I appreciate you. Um, but it's funny how you'll notice some people, the more people you talk to that are in a profession, they're in a profession that's actually working out something personally in their life far more than it is what they're doing on the external to serve people. It's crazy how this dynamic happens. But just pay attention, like in your own circle of influence, how this ends up playing out, right? The thing you're doing is actually the thing you need most yourself, or something along those lines. But that is absolutely the case for me, right? So where my bottleneck is me replicating myself. I'm still every bit of what one would call a small business owner. You're in America, you're a small business up until 500 employees. So I'm still a small business owner by every notion of the word. But and what's the big problem is, yes, can I replicate myself? Can I take the same principles, practice that I have and implement them into someone else? And so yeah, I would say that that's absolutely my bottleneck for sure.
So I love this, and that's not that this is a challenge for you, but more that because I know a lot of people will be able to relate to this. I think consulting firm, once you've solved acquisition, right, demand, it becomes how to solve supply. And what's
Mm.
interesting is that it's not just how do I do more because there is a cap on that. It's not only how do I hire, train at the same level of quality that I want the delivery to be, but it's also
Mhm.
how do I make my team members attractive in and of themselves when it comes to
Mhm.
our business vertical. Because the very hard spots for a consultant is that they build that brand, they build that reputation, people want to work with them. But then the question becomes, oh, but Mark, I thought I was going to work with you, and actually we are ending up working with an associate, a director. Doesn't really matter the title, but more like it's not you. And the thing
Mhm.
that so that's something we've recently started talking about in our mastermind group. It's like the way I've noticed PwC doing it when I was working there is that as of when you become an SME towards the end of your senior consultants years and like beginning of managers, is that they would start sending you to speak in panel discussions at events. They would start sending you on podcast as a guest, as the expert. So when they put that person in a proposal, it's like they are an expert. Here is the proof, and now you're making your team members attractive. So not everything relies on you anymore.
Right.
Found it interesting and thought I would share here because that's something we've discussed recently in the mastermind, and it's like, yeah, it makes sense. So how do we get not only more capacity, but how do we make that capacity attractive to the market? Is the complementing piece.
Yeah, I love what you said though. For us, it's been the power of masterminds, and no matter what the four P's are for us, no matter which pillar it is, getting a collective body of people, and we won't even charge for it. We'll just say, hey, what it doesn't matter what the industry is. We want Target, we want someone from Amazon, we want someone from Home Depot, we want someone from any of the big five to come inside of this mastermind, and we're here to essentially do peer-to-peer learning. We want to grow with one another. This now naturally increases the IP of our team first and foremost. It puts us around an upper echelon in regard to association second. And yeah, they're going to walk out of that place knowing far more than when they went in there. And it's professional development. It's all alike. At this point, you and me aren't going back to college to learn a course. No, you're growing right now, right? Leading the podcast. That's one of your ways of growing, right? And so, yeah, that's absolutely been how we forged and bridged that gap for sure.
Love that. On the other side of the coin, Marq, what's one big opportunity that you see for your business in the next 3 to 6 months? Like what's getting you excited to work on?
For me, man, I'm a systems guy. So it's always the more I can leverage technology to build out and automate things, which points us right directly at AI. It's obviously a big conversation and it will be for the next 3 to 5 years for most people. And so it's incredibly exciting for us. Me as a guy I don't know coding, to the degree that I've built some stuff, but I wouldn't say, I say I'm a 2-star at best out of 5. And so now being able to have that power in my hands to take something from ideation to design to development and then to deploying it is really exciting for me as a creator and as an entrepreneur. And now being able to build a team around that, for nothing else for the sake of our internal internal infrastructure. And if you ask me where the next wave is going to be, it's absolutely going to be in finance. And it's going to probably look a lot like quants. Most people will have quants or some way to play on the stock market, especially. I don't know what you all are looking at, but we're looking at a downturn. I'm expecting a downturn in the marketplace. And so, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for it. I know.
Interesting. I'm curious to discuss this off the record here, but yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, obviously, market trends impacts the way we do business and how well prepared we are for those downturns or not. Definitely shapes how well our business does in the upcoming 2 to 3 years. So excited for you on this, and curious to find out more on why you think a downturn is open to us. Yeah, Marq, this was brilliant. If people want to find out more about you, see what you do, where should they go?
Yeah, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're watching this from LinkedIn, definitely add us. If you're on YouTube right now, you can add our YouTube channel, or just visit the website, marqneasman.com. It's my name. And so more than welcome to MarQ Neasman. It's Marq with a Q.
Yeah. What's the origin of that? What's the So sorry, go ahead.
No, that's pretty much everywhere you are. I'm there too, and it's the same name, Marq Neasman. You can find us everywhere.
We'll put all the links in the description. So check out Marq. Marq, thank you so much for coming on Consulting Leaders.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Consulting Leaders Podcast. We hope you learned valuable lessons on how to grow your practice and take your business to the next level. Make sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you're listening to this show so you never miss an episode. To apply and be a guest on the show, click the link in the description. See you next time.